October 1994, everyone had been blown away by Sonic 3, just how amazing that was. Just an incredible computer game, and for it to come so quickly after the release of that game, like within like sort of 6-7 months. At first, I kind of thought, what are Sega doing? This is crazy, because we just had a Sonic game and we're still playing it. But it all become really apparent when we started seeing the photos. It's like, oh my god, that looks like a Sonic 3 level, and we all quickly realised that this is going to be a game that is a complete follow-on. Reading the magazines, the review scores, which were all praising. We knew it was coming. We'd seen some previews in the magazines. Everyone was buzzing about it. All the Sonic fans on the playground just couldn't wait for it to be released. And I just remember the first time getting it and having it and just looking at this cartridge. It had this big flap on the top, and it was just, what is going on with this? It was something you'd never seen before. We'd seen lock-on cartridges before, but we'd never seen anything like this where actual games could connect to each other. Something about the artwork, there was just something about the way the manual was laid out, and just everything about that game made me think, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Playing as Knuckles as the first time was one of the best experiences I've ever had in computer games, because before that point we'd only ever seen Knuckles in Sonic 3 as a bad guy. It also brought home the fact that Sega were really trying new things, because Sega opening things up and allowing you to explore the scenery in a completely different way. When it comes to Knuckles, it was just, this is completely different. We're doing something completely new, and we're going to allow you to explore Sonic levels in a completely different way. What made Sonic and Knuckles special when it came to the story was its ability to be quite diverse. The story in Sonic games had been pretty limp up to that point. It was Sonic, there was a bad guy, you had to destroy the bad guy. It was pretty simple. Suddenly, the whole story becomes really multi-layered, and Sega are actually thinking to themselves, let's actually give almost like some personality to the characters. And at that time, most computer games were pretty straightforward in that there's a good guy, there's a bad guy, go and save the princess type fare, which is fine. With Sonic and Knuckles, they started adding in things like treachery. And when we get to that moment where Knuckles finally realizes that the real enemy is Dr. Robotnik, and he teams up with Sonic and helps Sonic and Tails get to the next part of the game, it really opens up. And I think it's the first time that Sega really started to develop storytelling. While it wraps up the story of the what's been deemed the classic Sonic story, what we really see is that all the characters are suddenly having personalities, and they're coming out at you now, and you can fall in love with them, like I fell in love with Knuckles. Up until the point before Sonic and Knuckles release, most Sonic games had been extremely linear. There's obviously the odd secret here and there, and sometimes a different route you can take. When I first played it through, I did just blast through it really quickly and think, oh, that seemed like a really short game. It wasn't until I went back and started playing again and realising there were so many different routes. And the fact that Sonic and Knuckles play so differently, there's certain areas that only those characters can get to, which makes it really interesting. So you really do have to complete the game fully with both characters to experience all the secrets, all the extras, everything about the levels, which are huge. And you will die a lot as well trying to get to some of those areas. So I think, again, with Sonic and Knuckles, Sega were really showing that they wanted to develop the series. They knew that just keeping it running fast and getting to the end of the level, it wasn't going to wash for much longer. And they really took the level design to a whole new plateau. And the fact that Sega really developed the exploratory part was because of Knuckles. The fact that you can glide across big chasms and you can climb up walls, they were probably playtesting it and realising it very quickly that you won't use all Knuckles' ability if you don't allow the exploratory aspect of it. And I think we really see that when we get to Sonic Adventure, because Knuckles' levels are all about gliding around and exploring to try and find shards of the Master Emerald. So Sonic and Knuckles set a precedent that Sonic isn't just about speed anymore. We're actually going to be allowing you to explore a level, and you don't have to complete it as quick as possible. You can actually spend some time and admire it. With Sonic and Knuckles, Sega developed it from the start to be the second part of Sonic 3. They knew full well when they were developing Sonic 3 that it was going to be too big to go on the game cartridge. We know this now. In an ideal world, Sega would have just put the whole of Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 onto one cartridge and just released it like any other normal game. That was impossible though. It would have cost far too much. It probably would have had to have made some really big cartridge. So they decided early on that we're going to split it in half and have two different games that can still play on their own as well. When you start actually having some fun with the lock-on technology and you realise that, oh my god, now I can play as Tails in Sonic and Knuckles if I plug Sonic 3 in, and I can play as Knuckles in Sonic 3, it really opens up those games again. And there are some parts of Sonic 3 that you can only get to as Knuckles. So they knew full well when they were designing those levels that this was going to be happening. I think it was a big gamble by Sega, and they are always quite renowned for their failed technology. But I think with this one, they really nailed it well. Because not only can you play Sonic 3 with Sonic and Knuckles, but you can plug Sonic 2 into it, and that allows you to play as Knuckles in Sonic 2. It kind of works, but it doesn't really at the same time, because the levels were never designed to play as Knuckles, so there's not much really you can do different to what Sonic does. But it's interesting how you can get to parts of the level with the gliding technology. And when you are climbing up walls and stuff, it can make some of the secrets a lot easier. And when you plug in Sonic 1 to it, and there's like something like 1.5 million special stages to complete, and it takes an awful long time to go through them. I think I've done the first 100 and got a bit bored. It's also really important because it was the first time that a computer game company decided that they were going to break through from the limitations of a cartridge and actually break a game down into several carts. You could imagine it if there was a Zelda game or a Mario game or maybe some Atari games like Pitfall or something, where it was almost having like an add-on that you can make the game suddenly bigger and better. The idea of games having add-ons wasn't new. We had this with Command & Conquer and other PC type games and computer-based games. And I just think that was if that sort of technology had come out earlier in the cartridge era, there could have been so many amazing things that Nintendo, Sega, Atari, all those companies could have done if it hadn't come out in 1994 and it had come out in, say, 1990. Think of all the massive games you would have had. You might have had like a Zelda with an add-on that you could plug in, or a Mario World add-on where it just gives you another 99 exits to find. When it came out and I saw that box art, I was absolutely in awe, and I thought, that's it, Sega, they're at their best now. Not only they just released Sonic 3, an amazing game, Sega have done something so amazing here, and we've made a really good game that they've released twice as big now, and it just got better and better and better. And yeah, that's my memory.